So I'm going to talk about today the imports, or what the fancy term is for a bootleg, which is an import. Not all imports are bootlegs, but there are a lot of imports that are just that. They are bootlegs of the music. So I want to go over, are they good or are they bad? Well, I think they're a little of both. For me, they become an avenue or a way to get that album that is really hard to get or is really expensive. And if you go into it knowing that you're going to pay maybe a fraction of the price for that album compared to the original, will the quality be the same? Very possibly not. And if you go into it like that, with that mentality, it's probably going to be an okay transaction for you. So I got a few of the bootlegs or imports that I picked up and tell you kind of about them and why I like them or why I don't. One of the first ones that I got was Pearl Jam 20, and it's a 3-album set, and it's actually really good, sounds really good. I've had pretty good success rate on getting good quality albums. I've actually had probably, on a percentage wise, more bad sounding albums that are the original manufacturers, that they just come and they didn't mix it well or didn't do something to it and it just sounds bad. So of the imports that I have, I've had pretty good success on the quality of the sound of them. So Pearl Jam 20 I got, actually got that through a company called Rolling Records. They've been very good, and when I've ordered through them a couple of times, you can get these imports through some of your record stores. Not all the record stores carry them, but I have a couple here in Kansas City that actually do. I was able to get Pearl Jam Rear View Mirror, which is a greatest hits album. And both of these Pearl Jam albums, if you're to go out and try to purchase them either on Discogs or eBay, they're probably going to be $100 to $250, depending on, the seller and how many are for sale at the time. Both of these albums cost me $55, and they're both 3-album sets. Usually with an import like that, they have a little sticker on the corner, tells you what the color of the vinyl is. So like with this one here, again, Pearl Jam Rear View Mirror, and it is greatest hits. And as you can tell, the vinyl on it is going to be a silver color. So very cool looking like that. The quality on both of these albums is very good, so I was glad to get them, glad to have them in my collection like that. You have other albums that I've got a few Van Halen albums. I've been able to pick up albums that either weren't in print or they're really hard to get. And again, talking about what the color is for that, I was able to pick up from Unlawful Carnal Knowledge by Van Halen. As you can tell on the top corner, shows the color of it. And again, a lot of these are red is what they are, but not necessarily. But the most common color, and for some reason imports are printed on color vinyl, not black. But this one is red. The sound on it is really good. So I was able to pick this one up again for like $35. And it felt like it was was able to add it to my collection, wasn't able to pick it up. And if you can even find this album, it's going to cost you $100 plus. So a while back, again, it tells you on this one, red color, Van Halen 3, another import on it. And the sound quality is really good. You can't find this album. And I think, again, it was like probably a $35 album. So Van Halen, different kind of truth. I'd never heard of this album before, but when I saw it come up, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up, put it in my collection, because I'm a huge Van Halen fan. And again, red. The album of this, in my opinion, is okay. The sound is pretty good. It isn't bad by any means, but just the album, I was like, yeah, it's an okay album. I didn't think it was great. Let's see, what else was it? Was able to pick up Right Here, Right Now by Van Halen. And this one in it, the color on this, which is really kind of cool, is kind of different. It is a kind of a blue color, which is really nice. And most of these albums, they come in the really good protective sleeves on the paper like that. This is a live album. As far as live albums go, this probably the quality is about what I feel like a normal live album would be for the most part. Live albums typically aren't what you consider great sounding, but this is pretty good. And again, it's like a greatest hits album. It's live, and I was really glad to get that. And I think that one was like $55 again. And it's a 3-album set. It has, anyhow, 3 albums. It's got all these songs that are on it that is really cool to have by Van Halen like that. On one of the albums that I have, which is a Van Halen album, which to me, Balance is probably, for me, the best album that I like of Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. It's just a really good hard rock album. But ironically, what's on this album is the sound is terrific. I mean, it's just terrific. So however they produced it and manufactured it and mixed it off of this is really good. But as you can tell, different color on it. Most of the time they have that. And it is a, again, orange color off that. And which is really cool to have that orange. The interesting thing on this album is, again, Van Halen Balance, is that the track listings are completely off on it, on the label of what it is. And one of the songs, 2 of the songs, Strung Out and Doing Time, are on the opposite sides and in different places of where they should be. I mean, it reads like it should have been Aftershock and Not Enough is the first song on it. But all the songs are just off compared to what the label is. So that was kind of odd. And also, if you see it here, I'll put a clip in it, but the song Doing Time, which obviously has no lyrics, this has lyrics on it, and it is Daydream Believer by the Monkees. So I'm assuming when they put this out, somebody thought that it would be kind of funny to stick that in on top of it, or maybe there's some legality right that they put in there that alters what it is compared to that. I don't know, but I thought it was kind of funny when I saw that. I was like, that doesn't have lyrics, and then started reading it. But I'll post that up so you can look at that. But as a whole, though, the album sounds terrific. It's just odd that on the label that they printed it and how they put it on the vinyl, it's out of sequence and tracking. So it's kind of odd in that. Had a couple other ones that I picked up that Paul Stanley out of Kiss. And again, this is a, you can tell it has color on it. Shows it's a limited edition. The sound on this one is good, but honestly, the album is just okay. I think his first solo album was tremendous. This one here, just the writing and everything is okay, but really cool to have that color vinyl on it. But again, it's about, with me, picking up albums that you can't find. I'd never even known that this was out there. Then I get it, and I've got some of his songs on it that are just, putting into my collection to try to have. When it came up, I was like, oh, I got to have it, And I've been really lucky that the quality of the ones that I've bought is really good, or at least above average or average. I don't see any drop off in what I felt like the quality would be for a record, considering it's an import. This one here, being a huge Kiss fan, this is one of the albums that I just didn't have in my collection. I'd heard it on CD a little bit, but it'd been a long, long time since I'd really listened to it. And got this one, and again, as you can tell, that's what it's got here in the purple, which is absolutely cool when you get it. And this album sounds amazing. It is just phenomenal. It's a hard rock album for Kiss, and I'd forgotten how cool and good this album was. But a couple interesting things. I'd never had this happen before, but as you can tell, the purple is really cool. I mean, really, really cool. But it came with, and I've heard of this happening before, and you can kind of probably see it on there, the ripple in it, a double stamp of the label. And I'd heard that, well, there's a way that you can get this off, and you can try to get that, and it'll peel right off, and then you'll have, one that's completely intact like that. And I just didn't want to risk it, and I thought you can really kind of see on the edge of it that there's another label underneath, and it's the same label. It's just, they pulled 2 when they went to stamp it. But kind of odd, and it goes back to, didn't affect the record at all, but just, I'd never had that happen before, which is, kind of different. So it's like, but I got this album, and it's, again, sounds really good, and just another album that I couldn't get into my collection previously, I hadn't had. So I guess for me, I say if you like albums and you got one that you can't get in your collection or it's out of your price range, and if you go into it thinking that you may not get the exact quality of, a band or an original label press off of it, then I think that's probably for you. With these, I was willing to take a little bit of a risk, even though it's, a normal priced record, to get it and be able to put it in my collection, and I didn't have to pay what would be, 5 or 10 or 15 times what the regular selling price would be to get it into my collection. And they were kind of elusive, and I wanted to get them, and there's kind of that. I don't seek out to find those, but when they came up, I was like, oh wow, I think I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. And then I've kind of been looking for that, and I said there's a couple of stores in the area here in Kansas City that carry those like that. Now there are some people that think, well, why would you want a bootleg? Why don't you want that? And those are the reasons for me. And I've talked to other people, and I tell them that, and they're still like, I still don't get it. I still don't understand why you would want, an import, aka a bootleg of something and not the original. Well, I think it comes down to what you're willing to possibly sacrifice, and if you want to get that into your collection, and if that's okay with you. For me, these albums were. Now there are some albums that I probably wouldn't go and get. Like I'm still looking for, a George Harrison album, and I'm probably not going to get a bootleg off of it. Probably going to wait because it's been so long that it had been printed that one will come up sooner or later. I'm looking for a Pat Benatar album that was kind of a jazz swing album that I'm looking for, that is probably not going to be a bootleg. It's not as popular as, say, a band of Kiss or Pearl Jam or even Van Halen for them to reproduce. So I'm going to end up waiting for those albums to come out. But if it did come up, I would probably definitely think about getting it. Again, I think it's all in the perception of you. If you're willing to possibly sacrifice sound a little bit at times. I've been very lucky to get records that I feel like the sound is good and that. So in my opinion, I think it's okay. Now how it goes back to, I don't think I would go to resell these albums. I don't know the legalities of reselling them and doing those types of things. I think you could probably take them to your record store and do that. But for me, it was about me getting them and putting them into my collection. It really wasn't about trying to take them and then make money afterwards. I've seen some of the ones that are on there, the Creatures. I was able to buy it to begin with, and then you see this same album on eBay, and it's, again, just even the import on it is like, $200. So that's not what I would be looking for. I'm looking to put it into my collection and be able to hear it and gather the music that I like and curate it and build my collection off of the things that I really appreciate and like. So for me, it's okay. But what do you guys think? Maybe leave a comment down there. Again, it's Tracy here with Record Fuel. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. Hey there, it's Memorial Weekend, and we're getting ready to head down to the World War I Memorial, and where they have the Great Balloon Glow this evening. We are about a 2-block walk away from the streetcar. We're going to catch the streetcar and go down to Union Station and go over across the street to World War I Museum. So I'm going to show you the walk and the ride up there.